G'day guys, Daryl from Virtual Shot. In this video, we're going to go through the open range. We'll look at all the different features of the open range and how to use it and customize it for your training. So I've got Virtual Shot attached to a bolt action rifle using the scope mount. I've gone through all the safety precautions. All right, the rifle's clear. I've removed all live ammunition from the training environment. And now I'm just going to head to the open range now, which is that first one under ranges. Now, whilst I'm explaining this to you, I've just muted that shot detection there. Okay, I've got it set on manual shot detection mode, which will give me about 5 seconds to cycle a bolt between shots. All right, once again, that's the setting you should be using if you're using a rifle or a firearm that doesn't reset the trigger for you. So the purpose of this video is to go over how to use the open range and all the different features of it, because there are quite a lot of features to the open range that are kind of hidden beneath the surface. So the first feature that we're going to look at is this one here, the one at the top left. Okay, so it's got a little AI symbol. Now, what this symbol does is, this was a recent addition to the application. Okay, you'll notice when I toggle that on, it goes through some different firing positions. All right, what you should have is 4 different firing positions. So the prone or lying position, the kneeling or sitting rather, sitting supported, standing supported, kneeling, and then kneeling supported positions. So there's the 4 positions: lying, kneeling, sitting, standing, and then there's also supported variations of those. Now, the idea of this is, if you want to improve your shooting, you can adopt whatever position you're in. So in this stage, I'm actually seated in a chair, but I wouldn't normally shoot from this position, but I'm just doing it for the video. But let's say I was in the seated position. Okay, I change it to the seated position there. And then every shot I fire, Virtual Shot is going to track all the metrics of that shot. There's about 8 different data points that we track for each shot. And then it will allocate that shot to a shot fired from the sitting position. Okay, it's important when you're collecting your analytical data on your shooting that you're knowing which position you're in, because you may be very good at the prone position lying down, but your standing position may need a lot of work, or your sitting position or kneeling position may need a lot of work. So this system here just allows you to track your shooting in each different firing position you're in. Okay, you can toggle it on and off, and the reason you may want to toggle it off is because you might just be experimenting with a different position, or you could have a friend using the system as well, and you don't want their shooting performance to impact your shooting performance from the AI coach. So what the AI coach will actually do, this video won't go into that, but essentially it collects a whole bunch of data on your shooting and actually gives you coaching feedback about what you're doing well, what you need to improve on, and then it builds custom ranges for you to focus on those. Okay, but this video is more about the open range itself, so I won't go into that on this video. All right, the next button down, those concentric circles, brings up a zoomed in view of the target. Okay, so in this view here, you can see where your shots are landing on the target. The button on the left will reset your shots, so it will clear that target of all the shots. And then you've got a few windows here on the right. It enables you to see the kind of barrel movement on the vertical and horizontal axes. And you can also cycle through your shots and replay that barrel movement of each of them there. So I might just demonstrate that for you now and fire a couple of shots and show you how this feature works. So I'll unmute my microphone, and before I unmute it, I'll cycle the bolt and get going. Okay, so I fired 2 shots there. You'll notice that the shot replay system has got those 2 shots recorded. What I can do is I can cycle through those shots. So if I want to replay the first shot, I can just go back to that first shot, press that replay button, and this will actually show me my barrel movement before in red and then after in that light blue color. Okay, so that shows my barrel movement before and after the shot. I can then also look at it on the horizontal axis and also on the vertical axis there. Now, this is sometimes useful if you're working on, like vertical, for example, is very good for looking at breathing patterns. Okay, so when that rifle is rising and falling with your breathing, you'll be able to see that vertical movement of the barrel, both before and after the shot. Okay, and the horizontal can be good for looking at things like, the stability of your position, but also if you're, jerking or snatching the trigger or anticipating the shot as well. So I can cycle through those shots and look at those replays. And that will replay it for me on both the vertical and the horizontal there. Okay. Now, if I wanted to reset those shots, actually before I reset those shots there, you'll notice that the grouping, it's actually got the grouping size just above that reset button there. Okay, so that was an 86.6 millimeter group. I've got it set to metric. If you wanted that in inches, you can change the unit of measure to yards. And now that's reset the shots, but if I shoot another group, now it'll record that in inches instead of millimeters. Okay, so that's the shot detection system, the shot analytics system inside the range and how that works. Okay, if I close that, the next one down is the leaderboard. Now, what this measures is the best 5-round group score at whatever distance you have the target set. Okay, so how it works, if you want to get a really good grouping or get a place on this leaderboard, you need to shoot the best 5-round group at that distance. Now, it takes the first 5 shots. So if I fire 5 shots, I'll close this down. If I go into the menu here, once you fire 5 shots, that's the trigger for it to record that group, all right, and go again. You can just reset your group size if you want to shoot again, and that will reset it, and then enable you to fire another 5-round group. Okay. Now, to change the distance of the target, so at the moment I've got that target set at 50 yards. I changed it to yards as a measurement, and so I can push that target out by opening up this button here. So underneath the leaderboard, it's like a little abacus looking one there. Now I can drag that target out to 400 yards, or if it's in meters, it'll be 400 meters, or you can bring it right in close. Okay. By default, it's set to 50 yards. I can set that at 100 yards. You can add wind. Now the wind is just a 90-degree wind, okay, at 3 speeds, light, medium, and strong. Okay, so it's 90 degrees either left or right. And then you can also add movement to the target. Okay, so at the moment, you've got 3 speeds for movement. There's like a sprinting speed there, a running speed, and a walking speed. Okay, or you can just have no movement with the target in the middle. So let's say I wanted to try shoot moving targets at 100 yards. I've just got that setting dialed in there. I can bring up the close-in view to see how my shooting's performing, and I can take a few shots. All right, I might want to zoom in, so I've just zoomed in a little bit to 3 times magnification. Now you notice I'm leading the target. So Virtual Shot has a full ballistics system built into it. So you'll notice there when I was shooting the moving targets, I'm slightly leading the target, all right, because it applies real-world physics to the range. So when you're shooting movers, you need to lead them. When you've got wind, you need to adjust off for the wind. Okay, it also accounts for bullet drop and wind effects too. I'll make another video that goes into the ballistics system of this at the moment, but I think I've got it set on 223 at the moment. Okay, that's how that system works. Okay, so you can change the distance of the target. Now you can also change target type. So what I might do is I might stop it from moving. So I'll bring movement back. I'll bring the target in so you can see it a little bit clearer on the screen. And what I might do is change the target type. So I can reset shots from here. I can also change the target. So I can go to a what we in Australia call a figure 11 target, which is a military style human silhouette target. You've got more of like an IPSC style target there, and then just a general kind of shooting scoring target for zeroing practice as well. So they're the few target types that we've got built into the range here. All right. So I showed you the zoom button. Okay, so with the zoom, I'll just show you what that looks like. If I push that target further out, let's go 200 yards. Okay, I can zoom right in. So when you're shooting at a distance, you can adjust the zoom. Now, you will notice, for those of you that do a lot of shooting, you'll know that when you're zoomed right in on a target, you do get a lot of movement. And that's just replicating all that movement in the firearm there. Okay, so I can zoom out if I want to have, a little bit less zoom, but a little bit less movement in the scope there. Okay, so that's how that system works. All right, what else have we got? So another setting here. Next one down from adjusting the target is that little phone symbol with the arrows. Now this is for adjusting everything to do with the view. Okay, so if I press this button, so let's say I started the range and I was facing a different direction. Let's say I actually wanted to make my training direction this direction here. Now when I started, I'm now looking at the side of the range. Now this is not a problem. To do this, you just press this button here. And then what I want to do is reset downrange position. So I press that top button. And now I've reset the downrange position to this direction here. Okay. So that's how you reset that range direction there. If I wanted to go back to where I was over this side here, okay, I can just do the inverse process. Reset it downrange to this direction here. Okay. All right. The other options in that view there are the scope movement. So I've got it in scope mode here. If I wanted to move that scope around to get it to better align with my mount and with the way it's set up on my rifle, I can actually adjust the position of that scope. So you see when I'm moving it up there, I'm moving that scope around on the screen. Okay. You can also make it bigger and smaller as well. Different phones have different screen sizes. So you may want to make that scope a little bit larger, and that may give you a better view inside the viewport there for you. So that's the scope settings. All right, the other setting is the vertical offset. So sometimes with some phones, when you load up the range, all right, you could be pointing the rifle straight ahead, all right, but the rifle may be pointing up in the air. So you see at the moment, I'm pointing the rifle, kind of straight ahead for me, but it's looking up at the sky. So if I want to adjust that vertical offset, I can come into the vertical offset here, and I can adjust these settings here, and that will actually bring the horizon level down to the level that I want to shoot at. Okay, so that's how that vertical offset position works there. Okay, now other options inside the settings menu, you can access a number of the settings here. So that cog will access the settings. You can change the unit of measure between meters and yards. You can toggle the trigger reset between auto and manual, and you can change the sensitivity of the shot there. I can also change the scope type as well. So I can come in here and adjust my scope type. All right, let's say I want to use this one here. All right, now I've got an ACOG scope type in the system there. So there are a number of different scope types that you could choose from in the system. Okay, the final button down the bottom there is the help button. That one there will just launch the frequently asked questions option or the explain this page option. When I hit the explain this page option, what that will do is it will step through a bunch of tooltips. So if you've forgotten any of the things I've talked about in this video, you can step through those options there and it will explain what each of those buttons do. Or you can just hit that X to quit out of it. Okay, so that's the open range settings. The only last thing I haven't described is the multiplayer button. So right on the very top right-hand side, you've got a multiplayer button. All right. At the moment, that's red, so that means no friends are online. So you can link friends if they've also got Virtual Shot System to your account. And when the friends go online, that icon will turn green. So it's just an indicator, whatever range you're in, that you've got a friend online. So if you wanted to do head-to-head challenges against your friends, shoot the same targets, that kind of stuff, when that goes green, that's an indication that you can you've got a friend online. And it's actually a button too. So if you press that button, it will ask you if you want to actually go out and open the multiplayer menu. Now, in this instance, I don't, so I'm just going to hit no, but that gives you an indication of how you can do that. All right, that's all for this video. I'll do another video and show you red dot mode because there's a few different settings changes for red dot mode, but I'll explain that in a separate video on the open range again. So I'll see you again soon.